Biology Part 139. In more recent experiments, other amino acids, sugars, including ribose and deoxyribose, pyranines, and the pyramides and the nucleotides all have been produced in the laboratory. One of the easiest of all the molecules to make the purine base adenine, this combines with the ribose and phosphate to make the compound under the influence of ultraviolet light to form ATP. In the absence of oxygen, all of these compounds accumulated in the waters of the primitive plant, forming a mixture of sometimes called the primordial soup. In fact, all these things that have been observed by the scientists are based on the hypothesis. In fact, there is no fact that gives you the real story, what happened when the earth was formed. And so we go on to the organization, into the chemical system of the formation of earth. Over millions of years, the complexity of the organic compounds on the soup gradually increased. In the warm concentrated solutions, these substances were able to join together. They were polymerized to form long chains of molecules. The process can occur spontaneously, but it takes place more rapidly in the presence of the catalyst. It is probable that the chains of the amino acids and the long chains of the nucleides were all produced in the shallow rocks pools, particularly where the organic compounds had accumulated, and there was the absorption onto the surface of the clay particles. Well, these polynucleotide molecules have the capacity to produce new similar molecules by replication. A parallel development was the formation of the large aggregation of the molecules called weight droplets. The potential importance of these structures was first recognized by the Russian scientist Oparin, who investigated the properties of the artificial droplet system. Well, the droplet made by the dissolving gelatin protein of the polysaccharides material called gum arabic in water showed many similarities to living cells. Further example, they acquired the membrane-like lipid coating capable of absorbing the range of different substances from the surrounding solutions. While there were droplets containing enzymes, they could take the up substrate molecules produced back into the external solution. In later experiments, there were photosynthetic systems which were produced by making the droplets which contain chlorophyll. Using light energy, these tiny chemical systems were able to absorb into the oxidized dye and return it into the reduced form back to the surrounding solutions. While there were stable droplet systems tended to grow by the absorption of the chemicals from those which were less stable. The composition of the conserved droplets formed the oceans before the life evolved. It would have been quite different, but they may have shared some of the properties of the Oparin's model provided by the Russian scientist. What were the earliest of all the living cells? The first living cells are thought to have arisen from the coercive droplets which contain the polynuclearides, particular molecules of RNA. In time, some RNA molecules became able to direct the assembly of the chains of amino acids and so formed proteins. Precisely how this occurred is not yet fully understood. But once the template of the system of the protein synthesis was available, droplet system could carry out major processes characteristics of the living cells. With the manufacture of the enzymes and the structural proteins of the transition to the living organisms, they became complete. The enzymes were used in the new synthetic pathways leading to the production of vital substances previously obtained by absorption, while the ability to make structural proteins permitted growth and asexual reproduction by the fission processes. The parent cell splitting to form two or more smaller daughter cells. All these activities required increasing the quantities of ATP. However, the supplies of ATP in the surrounding water were limited, so that the primitive organisms must have run out of the fuel and broken up. So it could have started by an accident, so the thrust would have been there. I would have been informing you more about the details of these activities in my next video. That's all for the day. Bye bye, take care, see you next time.